Test, test. Good evening, everybody. We'll get started here in about 5 minutes, so if you can kind of start finding your seats, we'll get started here shortly, okay? About 5 minutes. Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. On behalf of our entire athletic department and our campus community, we would like to welcome you to the 2022 Athletic Hall of Fame Banquet. This event is always a highlight of each year where we get to honor some of the most accomplished and influential athletes, contributors, and coaches. Tonight is a special and appropriate way to celebrate and conclude our 109th homecoming week at Dakota Wesleyan. And before we officially get started with tonight's program, I would like to give a special thanks to everyone who made this event possible. First, our fantastic administrative team, Dr. Kittle, who you'll hear from in a minute, Teresa Creasy, Kitty Allen, Dr. Joe Roy, Jory from Advancement. We got a really good crew that really helps make this event possible. Our IT folks up there, Eric and Pedro and Alec, thank you for your help. Sandy, who's had a busy week in the physical plant, flipping rooms. Our Hall of Fame committee, and then Fresh Ideas, Nathan and Carl, and our very own softball team who will be serving the meal tonight. They always do a phenomenal job. And then last but not least, our staff, Marlene Warnke, Everybody kind of knows she's the MVP of this event and a lot of other things that we have going on. She runs the show from start to finish for this to happen. Brant McCall and Bo and our sports information director team, it's such a good crew to work with. All the marketing materials and the presentation that you'll kind of see tonight was done by all of those guys, so I can't thank them enough. And then lastly, I would like our coaches to stand and our athletic staff to stand, please. I want to recognize this group. This is just a phenomenal group to be able to work with every day. I can't thank you guys enough for all you continue to do. It's great to have you here tonight. But please join me in thanking all these individuals for making this event possible tonight. I would also like to take this opportunity to ask that all of our past DWU Athletic Hall of Fame inductees please stand at this time if you're in attendance. I know we got a few, so don't be shy here. Jalen? Yep. It's great to have you with us tonight. And then in addition, I would like to have all of our alumni stand and be recognized as well. Can all of our alumni please stand? Thank you to all of our alumni and our Hall of Fame inductees for being here tonight. At this time, please help me welcome our new leader and president, Dr. Dan Kittle, to the stage to give the presidential greeting and invocation.
Good evening, everybody. As John said, my name is Dan Kittle, and I have the pleasure of serving as the president here. One person he forgot to thank, which I understand, is himself. John provides excellent leadership. So, John, would you please stand so we might recognize you for the leadership you provide? You know, this is a great evening, and it's one I've been really looking forward to. And so first, on behalf of the university community, congratulations to our honorees, those elected to the DWU Athletic Hall of Fame. It's a special moment. And a warm welcome to the families, the friends, the coaches, and all of you who support DWU athletics. You know, since my arrival, I've had a chance to attend quite a number of athletic events, and from things, competitions, obviously, a handful of fundraisers, a couple summer camps, and even a few practices. And as I've witnessed those events, I come away feeling as if DWU has a really strong athletic culture. And as you know, culture is difficult to describe, but it's one of those things that when you see it, you know that it's strong and it's working well. And here, it's a complicated mix of factors, right? Leadership, coaches, parents, families, team makers, the Mitchell community, fans, alumni, friends, and so on. It's a strong culture, and it's a strong culture because of the people that care about the university and about athletics here. But even more, and this is what tonight's about, within those groups, you need people that strive for excellence, those that raise the bar, those that lift up the team, the program, and in the process, they build and they sustain a culture. So we gather this evening to recognize those people, Trae, Lauren, Chris, Lionel, and Ken. Thank you for your excellence and for your leadership because you have raised the culture. So I look forward to the evening to recognize each of them. So as we begin to transition here to the meal, prepared by, as John mentioned, some of our skilled colleagues from Fresh Ideas and served by our softball team, I'd like to offer an invocation. So if you would please pray with me. Lord, as we gather this evening to honor those who have contributed to DW Athletics, we praise you for the ways you have enriched all of our lives. We thank you, Lord, for the role that DWU plays in our lives, and we thank you all for the coaches, the teammates, and the mentors that we hold in our hearts this evening. We ask that you bless this food as well as those that have prepared it, and may it nourish our bodies for the good works you have in store for us. In your name we pray. Amen. So enjoy your dinner, and the program will continue here shortly.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with our program, and I know that some of you are still eating. Please continue to enjoy your meal while we get things kicked off. There was one individual that I forgot to thank here tonight, and he's had a really busy week, and that's Dustin Wheeler. Dustin, can you stand up? He's our photographer. He does a phenomenal job, takes some great pictures. Thanks, Dustin, for capturing the night for us. Okay, our first inductee of the night is Trae Berg. Trae Berg, a 2016 graduate from Crooks, South Dakota, played in 106 total basketball games for the Tigers and was a starter in 98 of those. He was a two-time GPAC All-Conference honoree with a second-team honor in 2015 and a first-team selection in 2016. During the course of his career, Berg was a mainstay in the top 5 in the country for three-pointers made and assist-to-turnover ratio. During his senior season, he was honored as an NAI First-Team All-American and was the NAI recipient of the Emil S. Liston Award, the nation's top basketball honor for academic and athletic achievement. For his efforts in the classroom, Berg was named to the Dean's List each year at DWU and was frequently named to the COSIDA Academic All-American team. Over the course of his college career, Berg tallied 1,847 career points and currently sits at number 8 in most points scored in DWU men's basketball history. Trae currently resides in Dakota Dunes, South Dakota as an orthopedic PA with his wife Taylor, who's also a DWU graduate, and children Tyus and Tatum. Please direct your attention to the screens for a short video honoring Trae. Please help me welcome to the stage our newest member of the DWU Athletic Hall of Fame, Trae Berg, and his presenter, Matt Wilbur.
Well, I know there's a few people out there wondering if this is going to be a toast or a roast of Trae, so I'll let you decide after I'm done. First off, congratulations to all the other Hall of Fame inductees and the people that are here. What a cool accomplishment for all of you. This is a great day. These are great days. You know, as a coach and a basketball coach, and I'm in my 10th year here at DWU, you have to have a lot of tough conversations, and you have to have a lot of tough talks. There's after losses in the locker room. I mean, there's things that you go through that are really tough. And Trae and I have been through a lot of ups and downs. Senior night, hey, you're not playing. Can't play tonight, man. You know, guy's hurt, I can play, and you got to sit there and talk to a guy about that and tell him, hey, we're going to have senior night in our next one. And he has 35 and holds their best player to very few points on a bum ankle. So a couple of things outside of the bio with Trae. God, he was tough to coach. Whew. He was a challenge. You had to watch every word you said with Trae because he would question everything. Every set we would name, he would challenge it and be like, hey, that sounds way too much like this, and that's too much like that. We're going to get confused. And if you wrote up a scouting report, you had better done every play the way that you needed to, right, Brandel? Like he would be the one that would look through it and with a comb. So a couple of things about him. I did not recruit Trae. He was currently at DWU when I got the job. I knew him from high school. I used to do workouts with him. I got to know him in high school, and he would come. I'd invite him to play in our open gyms at our basketball school, which was loaded with talent. And Trae would come as a sophomore, not guard anybody, couldn't guard anybody. Not much changed over his career. I'm not going to lie about that. But here's this guy. Hitting shots all over the place, and hey, keep coming back, keep coming back. He was a kid you could just gravitate towards, and I was tremendously lucky to have him here when I got the job. He was a big influence on me getting the job. John listened to our players, and he sold me to his teammates and to John Hart and Kurt Hart and helped get me where I'm at, so I'll be forever grateful to him for that. Trae, in his first year at DWU as a freshman, he managed to score 7 points. And that was in your last game, your freshman year, right? So in his next 3 years for us, he scored 1,840 points over the next 3 years while playing with some supremely talented players. He also, with him, we ran a lot of sets, but Trae, we had an understanding. I could call any kind of set, but if Trae had the ball, I would maybe call out, hey, we're running Illinois. Trae, you know what to do here. And then he would shoot it from 30 feet while the play was getting run, and that was usually our best offense. The intelligence that Trae had, you can see him here, and I know his mother used to get upset with me after games. I would go up on the radio, and I'd talk about this 6-foot guard who weighed about 155 pounds, dripping wet, and Cindy would be like, Coach Wilbur, like, could you stop, that? But you take with recruiting, I used to tell Trae, do not come around while I have recruits on campus, because he would come in the office, and I'd be like, hey, this is the best player in our league. And all these kids were like, well, I'm going to be the best player in this league. Look at this guy, and you didn't realize what kind of cold-blooded killer he was on the court. He was a 40% three-point shooter, but if you put him in front of the opposing team's bench or the opposing team's crowd, that jumped to about 75 to 80%. He made more shots in front of the opposing team than anybody because he liked to do the twink. He just would, very nice kid, but nobody realizes how much he talked on the court. Like, he was constantly talking to the refs and to the other players, unbeknownst to most people as he was going. I love that one of his quotes was talking about his academics here. And the one thing, I'm his basketball coach, and so I got to spend a lot of time with him on the basketball court and in the locker rooms and through all those things. But off of the court, he's the model. He's the model. You just sit there and you talk about to your guys that are your coaching now, like, hey, you can do this. You can get all A's. Well, mostly all A's. You got an A- in there, I think, right? Right, Lana? I thought I saw Lana come in here. So you can get all the extra reps in. You can do all the stuff, and the truth is you can't. And Trae did it, and he did it the right way. And the academic career he had and the athletic career, I'm just very proud to be able to present and be a part of that with Trae Berg, who will forever go down at DWU as one of the best on and off the court. So congratulations, Trae. I love you, kid.
That was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was a roast for sure, so I appreciate the kind words. First off, I'd just like to congratulate the rest of this class, Lauren, Chris, Lionel, and Ken. It's awesome to be grouped with you guys. I felt like this was perfect for us to be together. I think we split every award you could our senior year, Lauren, so this is really cool to have you here too. Next, I'd like to thank John and the DWU Hall of Fame selection committee. It's a really big honor. That can be said a million times, and I really just thank you guys. I'd like to give a special shout out to John and Kurt, both of you guys. Started earlier than I thought. Jeez, this is early. I'm going to waste it on John. You guys had a big impact on my time here, not only with the sports department, me individually. I can't thank you guys enough. So thanks for being here. Anytime as a medical professional that someone reaches out to you, my first thought is, oh no, like what happened? And I was in clinic. John texted me, hey, give me a call when you have a sec. I was like, oh shoot, Harper Henley, who broke the wrist? What happened? Call him, and he proceeded to go on and inform me that this was in my future and tell me I was being inducted. I was really pleased both for the twins. I was glad nothing was wrong with them, and it was a phone call I'll never forget. So thank you for that, John. First off, I got to start with Coach Wilbur. It was fun to hear him talk. He could talk forever. I'm surprised it was that short. But having his impact here, not only at Dakota Wesleyan, but my time prior, I can't speak enough on that. I think we officially met probably, I don't know, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, something like that, when we were doing Tibbs workouts. And his energy made me fall in love with the game even more at that point. How could you not, when he was running, yelling, making it fun, and I thank him so much for that. But one of the things, he probably doesn't remember, but I think my freshman or sophomore year, like he was talking, he pulled me aside in a workout and he said, hey, and I was a little guy, and I shot it from my hip, and he's like, you got to get it to your forehead, you got to get it above your head, you'll never play high school and college if you can't. And that little change was huge for me, and it won him a lot of basketball games too, so you didn't know that would come back to help you. So, but our relationship on and off the court, you read some of the quotes. He had so much confidence in us, telling us to shoot it, and the confidence he gave us and the freedom, it was so special. But our bond on and off the court, you see the picture of us golfing, it's still going to this day. I know I go to him for a lot of life of things, and while I was here and after, and I hope I've been a rock for you too at times. So I appreciate you a lot. Thank you. Next, I got to talk about my teammates, and I got a whole bunch of them here. We got a great crew, so bear with me as I go through this, but I got to give each one of them kind of here a little shout out. So first, I'll start with Chris Menning, one of my best friends. What? Can you get a drink? How lucky for me to have him on the other side on the three-point line. Jeez, as a shooter. To have Chris on the other side, that was unbelievable. He took the defenders. I have a lot of records for three-pointers. I'll tell you to this day, he's the best shooter in Dakota Wesleyan history, so thank you for being on the other side. Jalen Voss, his accolades speak for themselves. I'm excited to join you in this special group. Having the best big man in the country to man a double team, that helps shooters out too, so thank you for that. Luke Bamberg, best teammates, one of the best people you can have. Bailed me out on defense about 100 times, so thanks for that. But more importantly, he was our engine. Instilled leadership abilities in me that I still use today. I'm so thankful for all that you gave to me. Joey Mitchell, glad you can make it. Joey, what a year he had at Dakota Wesleyan. Doesn't get talked about enough. Doesn't get brought up enough when our season gets talked about. And him coming here, coming from D2, coming saying, hey, we got two guards that end up being, All-Americans who think we were playing, and he comes in and guards their best player, hit shots when needed to, and didn't have a me attitude. So we're so lucky. Thanks for coming. They made that year. You'll be in Dakota Wesleyan history forever, so appreciate you. On the point guards, we're going to go to Tate Martin. What a passer. Unbelievable. Just found me in right spots. But to Coach Wilbur's point, I think we had the most fun talking crap to the other crowd. We maybe weighed a combined 280 pounds, and we like to talk, so I had a blast playing with you. Next, Trae Vandenberg. We confused so many announcers, Trae Berg, Trae Vandenberg. They had no idea who was shooting it. So my grandma and grandpa listening on the radio, they maybe thought I made every one of them. So thanks for that. Jade Miller, what a talent. Awesome playing with you all 4 years, coming in together. It was a blast. Some of the others not here. Stephen Lee hitting 2 huge free throws in the national tournament after I went out. Jason Spicer. List goes on, but that's a special group that's here today. Next, I don't know where he's at, but my college roomie, Johnny Alford. I think he's back here somewhere. Went through a lot. If you see him back there, he lifted weights a lot while I shot at night, so it turned out well for both of us. But he was counselor, he was best friend. A lot of late nights talking goods and bads after games, so thank you, and thanks for coming up tonight. Next special group, managers, coaches, other individuals. Coach Brandel came into this together. You believed in me. You gave me such a confidence in myself that I didn't know I had, and I thank you for that. But most importantly, Brandel would challenge me. He wasn't a yes guy. I don't know how many times he said, varsity guards don't play like this to me in JV games, and that stuck with me. So those hard conversations, thank you, and thanks for coming. Coach Weidenbach, we had a lot of special times. You hear my freshman year as well. You're a big influence on me, and then our awesome time in O'Gorman, I enjoyed that, so thanks for coming. Lee Neuenhaus, awesome. Lee, I can't thank you enough for what you did. Stretched out my hamstrings, awesome. I miss it to this day. I just wish you'd come over and stretch me out some. Jared Guthmiller isn't here tonight, but anyone who knows my career knows how much time I spent in the training room. So Jared and Lana and our athletic training staff, I abused the rules probably a lot, taking game readies home and things like that to try to get ready, so thank you. Go on to my family. So I'm sorry I'm getting winded. So my mom and dad, can you guys stand up? Everyone give them a round of applause, please. You can sit down. So I can't thank you guys enough. I could talk for hours on thanking you guys from a young age. My mom coached. We were gym rats. We spent a lot of time in the gym watching games, watching Wilbur when he coached at USF. Those guys, every opportunity, whether it was open gyms, taking me to workouts, camps, I made everything accessible, making sure I had sweet shoes that lasted all the way through college. Thank you. I can't thank you guys enough. And now having Tyson Tatum, what good examples you guys have been for us, and I hope to be half the parents you guys are. So thank you, and thanks for being here. Next, my brother, Tyler. I'm not going to make you stand up. I know you'd not be happy about that. Thanks for being here on a college football Saturday. I knew if the Niners were a Sunday, we might not have him here today, so thank you for coming. But he was my role model. He was my best friend. I wanted to shoot like you, run like you. You pushed me. Having him here my last year or two at Dakota Wesleyan, going to school and graduating together, and were some of my best memories. Some of my favorite memories are you sitting courtside and us high-fiving after threes, and your support through all that. I can't thank you enough, so thank you. My grandma, grandpa, Lloyd and Ruby, thank you guys. Anyone who's been around this community here, you know those two when they walk in. They didn't miss many games, so I thank you so much. The refs have been happy that Grandma's not at games anymore, so Grandma, you just... I also have another set of grandparents. Weren't able to make it tonight. My Grandpa Daryl and Grandma Dana could support, make it when they could, but my Grandpa Daryl, he still thinks I probably could play for the Timberwolves. He just doesn't quite understand the next step, but he I always knew coming out of a timeout, I'd walk out and I'd see my dad on the phone, and that was either my grandpa Daryl couldn't get the live stream to work, or he was telling, hey, go tell Wilbur to get Trae a look. So that's usually what my grandpa was thinking. So I'd just like to recognize them as well. Lastly here, I'd like to just recognize Taylor, my wife. We had a lot of fun at Dakota Wesleyan. This is fun. Fun to be back this weekend with our kids. It's sweet seeing them run around the wellness center and stuff, and where we spent a lot of time, so thank you. My favorite story of her was Branson. She was an athletic trainer for USC softball at the time, and she wasn't able to make it through the round. She just keep winning. I can come to the Final Four, just keep winning. And we kept winning. She flew from Florida, landed in Omaha, walked in right before the tip, proceeded to hit 9 threes that game, I think, 8, 9, something like that, and it was fun, so thank you so much. You look at that picture right there, this is just my basketball junkie in me. I can't be away from it. She's put up with me coaching at O'Gorman 2 years, now 1 year at Dakota Valley. That's not easy with 2 kids, so I know it's a huge sacrifice. Thanks for letting me just be around this, because that's the only thing I know, and I'm probably going to be around it for the years to come, so thank you so much. Finishing up, Dakota Wesleyan holds a special place in my heart. Had so much fun here. It's such a special community. They support their athletics, basketball, all the other sports so well. It'll be a special place for me forever, and for me, this is a unique honor. This is special. Everyone here played a huge role in it. But coming in as an unrecruited, not very highly recruited, these guys talked me into coming just pretty much because I got along with them. And spending the time in the gym and being here, I would have never thought it. I just would have never guessed it. So it's such an honor. I can't thank everyone enough for coming. Congratulations, everyone. I'm looking forward to getting this speech done and having a fun time tonight. So thanks, guys. Thanks.
Congratulations, Trae, and thank you, Matt. Our next inductee is Lauren Fitz-Gulen. Lauren, a 2016 graduate, hails from Brookings, South Dakota. She completed her decorated career as a 4-time GPAC Golfer of the Year and a 4-time All-GPAC selection. She ended her career with a top 15 finish at the NAI Championships and was named to the NAI All-Tournament team. Lauren had countless tournament wins over the course of her reign in the NAI and GPAC, including 6 alone in the 2015-16 season. Fitz helped guide the women's team to 4 straight GPAC championships. Lauren still shares the women's school record for the lowest round of 69, the lowest 36-hole score of 146, and has the outright record for 54-hole score, carding a 227. She has also notched multiple wins at the South Dakota Golf Association Championships, and in the classroom, Lauren was named to the DWU Honor Roll multiple times and was a COSIDA Academic All-American. Lauren was recently married to husband Kyle and currently works as a nurse practitioner in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Please direct your attention to the screen for a short video highlighting Lauren. Please help me welcome to the stage Lauren Fitz-Gulen. Well, Lauren has tasked me with being her presenter tonight, and I couldn't be more honored to do so. During Lauren's decorated career, I was serving as the Associate Athletic Director at that time, so I was able to have a really great perspective and window to her accomplishments, and believe me, there were a lot of them. When it comes to her legacy and her impact on DWU, I believe her resume pretty much speaks for itself. A 4-time GPAC Golfer of the Year and a 4-time GPAC Team Champion. One of the top 15 golfers in the NAI, countless tournament wins, countless GPAC Golfer of the Week honors, school records, course records, and much more. Now, some people may not know this, but with the exception of the 2008 year, our women's golf program won the GPAC championship every year from 2003 to 2016. And during that stretch, we had 2 student athletes from DWU, Danny Bellett and Lauren, who each won the GPAC Player of the Year 4 times. So for 8 years in a row, we hands down had the best golfer in the conference. And to this day, Lauren is one of the only 2 athletes in the GPAC to win Player of the Year honors all 4 years. And this is a feat that I don't think will ever be accomplished again. And if it does, I hope it's another DWU student athlete. And a funny side note here, during those championship runs for Lauren and our women's golf team, our commissioner and other ADs in our conference would always joke that we might as well just name the Golfer of the Year trophy after Lauren Fitz or Danny Bellett. And so that was always kind of a joke that really stuck with me, because for 13 straight years, I felt like the conference is always like, well, here you go, DWU, here you go, Lauren Fitz, So again, that was a really fun memory as an AD or as an associate AD. But as a bystander and a staff member during that time in athletics, some of my best memories of Lauren and the golf team was being able to travel with her and the team to nationals in Savannah, Georgia, where the weather your senior year was a nightmare, by the way. Or another great memory was you leading the team to its 8th consecutive conference title at our home course, Wild Oak, when it was a tight race. But the one memory and characteristic that stuck with me about Lauren that I felt like separated her from others was her competitive nature. Anytime you would see Lauren on campus or not competing, she had the biggest smile and was always cheerful, but when she got on that course to compete, she meant business. Now, obviously, there were a lot of factors that went into her success. Her talent, her work ethic, a great family backbone, and much more. But as an outsider looking in, I believe there was a definite factor of intimidation because she was so competitive and fierce on the golf course. And her success and determination certainly didn't stop on and off the course. Her accomplishments gracefully carried over to the classroom and her career goals. Upon graduation from DWU, her path has led her to starting a great career and family. At the end of the day, you are much more than arguably the best golfer in GPAC history. You're a great person with a big heart who will continue to make big differences in the lives of others. We are extremely proud of you, Lauren, and I'm proud to present you with the highest individual honor and accomplishment for DWU athletics. Welcome to the DWU Athletic Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Wow. Feels like just last year I stood on this stage and gave a speech at the end of the year banquet, my senior year. I was told it was a very nice speech, but I talked way too fast. So we will try to slow it down today, and I'm going to try not to cry, but Trae already ruined that for me. And I'm guessing everyone in my family is already crying, so I'm going to avoid looking at those tables here. After 6 years, I stepped back onto campus yesterday, and it still felt like home the way it did when I walked on for my first college visit. I came in the fall of 2011 with my dad, and I had 3 college visits set up, a few different South Dakota schools back to back to back. Took a couple days off of school and came to all these schools. DWU was at the bottom of my list. But Coach Anderson was persistent, and I figured I should at least check it out. So I left that night, and I knew DWU was where I was going to be. I had no idea what the next 4 years would have in store for me. You would never know it, but I hated golf as a kid. I hated playing and watching. I would dread Sundays because the PGA Tour would always be on TV, and I thought it was so boring. My mom would drag me around to the golf courses all around the state so my sister could play in all the junior tour events, and I was usually bribed with a new Game Boy game, or a book to read, or cheese balls and a Shirley Temple. I was much more content sitting in the cart reading Harry Potter while the rest of my family played golf. Once 7th grade rolled around, my sister forced me to go out for the golf team. She said, "Give me 1 year, then you can decide whether or not you want to play." I said, "Fine." And then I convinced my best friend, who also didn't like golf, to go out for the golf team with me. I was terrible, absolutely terrible, which is a large reason why I hated golf. But I improved quickly and realized it wasn't so bad, and I got to skip a lot of school and spend time outside. But South Dakota spring weather sometimes made that pretty miserable. I'm not sure when I flipped the switch to liking golf, but I'm so happy I did. If my sister had not pushed me that day, I would have missed out on so many memories and opportunities. So thank you, Morgan. My career at Wesleyan didn't exactly start off as Hall of Fame material. I took a 10 on my first hole. The second hole, I almost got a hole-in-one, but I still missed the 2-foot putt. The rest of the round, I did find 6 birdies and still somehow tied for first. Wesleyan provided so many opportunities, from going to nationals and traveling the country, to traveling abroad in Costa Rica, to beating Morningside in 2016 with 4 girls to win the GPAC championship at Wild Oak. I could not imagine having a better college athletic experience than I did at Dakota Wesleyan. I am so happy I chose Wesleyan. So thank you to Coach Anderson, Coach Gomez, and Coach Paulo for everything over my 4 years. Thank you to all my teammates over the years. I wouldn't have been the competitor I was without them and all that runza. Thank you to John and Kurt Hart. Wesleyan is so lucky to have you guys. I want to give a special thank you to Coach Hobbs. Contrary to popular belief, golfers do work out. Thank you to my parents for literally never missing a tournament. Golf may not be the most glamorous or spectator-friendly sport, like football or basketball, but the Mitchell community supported and celebrated us after every tournament. Between Tim Smith on KMIT and the Daily Republic writing stories, we were never left out as the golf team. I loved every minute of my time at Wesleyan, and I will always be a Tiger. Thank you.
Congrats once again, Lauren. Our next inductee is Chris Pritchard, a 2011 graduate and native of Newport, Wales. Was a first-team All-GPAC selection twice in his career. He was an All-Region selection in 2010 and qualified for the NAI National Tournament twice as a Tiger Team member, including the first time in program history in 2009. Chris holds the records for the most rounds played at DWU with 92 and carded 170 birdies in those 92 rounds. Pritchard was also a member of the DWU Honor Roll throughout his academic career and was recognized as an academic All-American. Pritchard resides in Spearfish, South Dakota as a general dentist, and his wife Kelsey, also a DWU graduate, have sons Jack and Sawyer. Please direct your attention to the screens. Please help me welcome to the stage Chris Pritchard and his presenter, Tom Hook.
Who'd have thought I'd be this nervous? Jeez. Good evening. First off, I just want to congratulate all the incoming members of this year's Hall of Fame class. This is quite a group. The Hall of Fame committee did fantastic, and it's awesome just to see two golfers get in the same year. It's also amazing to see Lionel Riley, who's also in attendance here and getting inducted as him and I went to college together as well. So it's just awesome. It's remarkable to reflect and reminisce about the mark that you guys have all left here on Dakota Wesleyan University. It's a special night. So thank you for everybody being here tonight. First off, I want to start off. This is a little unfamiliar territory for me because usually when I'm on this stage, I'm either talking to parents and prospective students, or I'm laying down the law on behavior to incoming freshmen. So it's gonna be a little different here. But this past spring, when Chris called back in April, it was I just thought it was just gonna be another call, kind of one of those times where Chris and I catch up, talk about what's going on in our lives, talk about the family. And basically just kind of talk about golf and do our regular catch-up. But after about an hour of conversation and him inviting me to be here tonight and hanging up the phone, I just had this huge rush of all the memories of our playing days. But considering my employment here at Wesleyan at this time, I think I'll pocket a lot of those stories and memories, and I hope you might do the same. I was fortunate enough to play with Chris for 1 year, and the first time I met Pritch was on his recruiting visit, and somehow I talked Coach Anderson into letting me drive over to Sioux Falls to pick him and his family up from the airport. And I just wanted to say, hey, Coach, I'll drive. You can focus on getting to know Chris, getting to know his parents, so you can talk up to Mitchell community, what Dakota Wesleyan's all about, and what our program is. And so it was a typical visit. We pick him up from the Sioux Falls airport. We head over to Ostad's right away, do a little rounds, and I think Chris walked out with dang near half of the store. I looked over at Malcolm and Karen. I just said, you're either going to need another suitcase, or you're going to have to mail this all back home. But we kind of gave him a little razz on that right away. He comes, and obviously, needless to say, the visit went really well. And I remember Coach Anderson coming at us and asking, hey, what do you think? Is Chris going to be all right fit? And what do you think about his playing ability? And I just remember I just kind of responded and looked at him and smiled. I said, hey, the kid can play, but what's better, I think he's going to be a great teammate. And that certainly turned out to fruition. Chris would later commit. Soon after that, he'd follow by sending friend requests because social media started to become a big thing then. And I just remember going through all the pictures and starting to look through things, and I'm noticing all these selfies. He's got the slicked hair going on. He's got the new designer shirts and stuff. And I kind of went, what did we get ourselves into with this pretty boy? Oof, this is gonna be tough. Now it's all pictures, of his boys, his family, and rodeo, even that cowboy hat. I just can't get used to that, Chris. I got to get to our first camp. First fall camp comes around. Some of those concerns about how things were going to be as him fitting in right away. He came in with a lot of confidence, came in talking a little bit of trash. I was going to whip the upperclassmen and such. And then all of a sudden there's two practices. Chris was just like MIA. He's just gone. And coach is like, Tom, do you know where Chris is? And I'm like, no. So I found him on campus. I'm like, Chris, what's going on? He goes, oh, my back hurt. These workouts in the morning and golf in the afternoon. I just needed a little break. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. This is college golf, man. Like, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, you show up, you put in the work, and this is we got something special that we could do. Well, he kind of responded with a buzz off in a little more colorful language. And tonight, obviously, I think in that first couple of weeks there, it kind of got the point across. But we have our first fall tournament in the spring, or in that fall. We go to Storm Lake. This is also at a time where you printed off the Google Maps to get to the golf course instead of putting it on your phone. And Coach Anderson either misjudged how far it was to Storm Lake or misjudged what time the tournament actually started. And we get a call, and we're like 30 minutes out to get our warm-ups in. And he's like, "Hey, Coach, are you guys still showing up?" "Well, yeah, we tee off at 11, right?" He goes, "No, we tee off at 10. Chris is instantly upset, complaining about, "I'm not going to get a proper warm-up on the range. What are you doing, Coach? Like, what's going to happen?" So we jump in, we fly in the parking lot, we're throwing shoes on, grabbing scorecards, and we're literally jogging to our first tee. And lo and behold, we get in after that round, and Chris comes in with the winning score in his first collegiate tournament ever, and we win it as a team, and that's something I will never forget. That year is one of the best times of my life. Capped off by winning the men's and only conference championship in men's program history. The next 2 years, Chris goes on with the team to nationals and is one of two only qualifiers to actually make the cut as an individual. But as I moved on, Chris and I stayed in touch often. And watching him transform into the driven and determined man that he is today was just incredible. And I had a front row seat to watch Chris meet the love of his life, Kelsey, accomplish great things on and off the golf course here on our campus, start a beautiful family, and attain his doctorate from the School of Dentistry at Creighton. And so, Chris, it's been a blessing to have you part of my life as a teammate, a friend, a brother. I'm honored to be in the front row again tonight because you accept this most deserving honor, okay? So, without further ado, it is my honor and privilege to present the 2022 Athletic Hall of Fame member, Dr. Christopher Pritchard.
Thanks everyone tonight. Thanks to everyone coming. I really appreciate it. Thanks to Dakota Wesleyan. Big thanks to the committee. I'm very humbled. Played with a lot of great players all the time, and Tommy's just one of them. Never thought I would be up here accepting this, but I'm very humbled. Congratulations to everyone else, Hall of Fame tonight. You guys shown on and off that you're great people, and hope you guys have a great night tonight. Looking back at it, a little bit what Trae said, I got the same call during clinic, and I'm like, what's John calling me? I'm in the middle of oral surgery, and I'm like, well, I got to call him back. So to have that and to kind of step back, and John saying, yeah, you've been inducted, kind of had to sit down for a little bit and take a little time out and say, wow, this is actually happening. And next thing John was saying was, yeah, who would you like to be up there? And right away I kind of knew who it wanted to be, and that was Tommy. I was lucky only to play 1 year with him, but Tommy was pretty much the person who I'm here today because of him. He made me feel at home. Being away from my mom and dad and family, it wasn't easy, but yeah. So thanks, Tommy. But yeah, that 1 year we accomplished a lot at Dakota Wesleyan, and I was just a small part of it. But it was a great time. We traveled everywhere. I want to thank my coaches, Coach Anderson, Coach Ehrbeck, Coach Schneider, and Coluccio. They all played a great part over my 4 years at Dakota Wesleyan. I want to thank all the faculty who made me feel at home here too. Every day they'd always see how I was doing. Randy, you're a big part of that. Jerry Luckett, Jack Mortensen, my first science class with Dr. Fani. I was like, wow, this is a little different, but no. Jory, you were my ID my first year, and you just made me feel right at home. You always asked if I needed anything, made sure we were always taken care of. I want to thank you for that. Big person I want to thank too, she's not here tonight, would be Carol Weiss. She always checked on, see if we were all okay, and especially me being from home, that was a great thing. Yeah, that was a good one. 11 years ago, yeah, that's kind of a long time, and since I stepped back here, and yesterday, walking back, Dakota Wesleyan needs to be proud. You've really built a great school. We used to go out, and Tommy, we'd play rain, come shine. We didn't have the facilities they have here now. The golf team, yeah, you've got everything here. You guys need to be lucky. We had to go and play golf and practice in rain, 32 degrees. Now you guys can practice wintertime. Yeah, the community around here really supports us, like Lauren said. Golf is not it's a team sport, but it's nothing like football and the basketball. We're just kind of a little dot on campus sometimes, but like I said, Tim Smith with KMIT, Daily Republic, they would always support us. They'd always make sure we were part and we were mentioned, and we gained a lot of friends around that. I want to thank my mom and dad and Kelsey. Mom and dad let me come over here. I know that was hard. They wanted me to stay at home, but my mom was like, if you're going to play golf, you need a college education. So I was like, okay, it's either me playing a little golf at home or playing a lot of golf in the States, and I chose the States, and couldn't thank where I'm at now. Kelsey, I met her in my freshman year, and I was like, oh, wow. And now we have two great boys. We're back in South Dakota, and she went through a lot. She went through 3.5 years of golf, and then 4 years of dental school, which I wasn't really home a lot. She pretty much brought up our two boys on her own, so thank you. But I want to thank Mike and Eileen too. That's Kelsey's mom and dad. They would always come out and support us. They'd always come to the golf tournaments my mom and dad couldn't come to. Dakota Wesleyan just was a welcoming place. I wasn't sure. I come from a big city. I arrived here on my recruiting trip in April, and I was like to my mom and dad, I'm like, am I gonna like this? It's like 32 degrees, like 2 feet of snow. Can I play golf? And I landed and met Tommy and Adam and the whole team, and I was just like, yeah, this is gonna be home for me for the next few years. I didn't even bat an eyelid at the colleges. I flew back home and said, yes, I wanna be here. And some of the teammates I had over those years were incredible. Some of them couldn't be here tonight, but Brett Abbott's, Tyler Evenson, Nick Gates, Andrew Farron, they were all just great teammates. We had a great time together. We had some great memories. Some of the best memories were actually my first year. We just traveled, and the camaraderie we had. Tommy, you made that a lot happen. Like you said, there's probably some stuff I shouldn't say tonight that happened in the golf team, and we'll keep that under wraps. But it just built me as a person. Dakota Wesleyan, the golf team, it gave me that drive to say, can I do this? Can I be a college athlete? Can I keep my grade? Can I keep my grades up? And that really pushed me going forward in my golf career. Being able to take Dakota Wesleyan to nationals twice was a great achievement. It wasn't just myself, but it was the whole golf team that took it there. But I was lucky enough my junior year to make the individual cut, and it was a tough week. It rained a lot. I remember the second round, I was like 4 over after 9, and battled back and stayed 4 over after 18 to make the cut, and found out the team had missed the cut, but I'd made individual, which I was happy to do that, but sad that all my teammates couldn't be with me that next day. But I stand on the tee 7:15 that next morning, and I had my whole team standing there on that tee behind me, and that's something I'll never forget. They were all pushing for me to keep going well, and we had a great time. And that's one. The other great memory I have would probably be like my last golf tournament of my college career. We weren't gonna make nationals, but it was my first time. Like my mom, dad, and my nan and granddad had made the golf tournament, and it was a cold day. No one wanted to be out there watching us on our last golf tournament, but my granddad hung in there. He was the only one. he was the only one to stay 18 holes with me. So, but my nan can't be with here today, flying, but I know she'll be watching this, so thanks. But I'll keep this short. Just want to thank everyone else at Dakota Wesleyan for giving me the opportunity. Hopefully I can do them proud going forward. Still feels kind of weird to have doctor at the front of my name, but hopefully everything I've learned here from everyone here, I can put that towards my patients going forward, and just be the best person I can be for my family. And just want to thank two other little guys who can't be here tonight. Would be Jack and Sawyer. I don't get to play a lot of golf now, but I wouldn't trade that for the world. I see them as much as I want, but I know someday we'll be back on the golf course playing. So, but thank you everyone tonight. It's great to see everyone. It's great to see new friends, old friends, and I hope Dakota Wesleyan will just keep growing as a family and just keep pushing going forward in every sport possible. Thank you.
Congratulations, Chris. Thank you, Tom. Our next inductee is Lionel Riley. Lionel Riley, a 2007 graduate from Chicago, Illinois, was a two-sport standout at Dakota Wesleyan for the wrestling and football programs. Throughout his 4 years on the DWU football team, he tallied 188 tackles, 6 sacks in 31 games, and was a two-time All-GPAC selection, a first-teamer in 2006 and a second-teamer in 2005. His success and power on the football field translated well to the wrestling mat as he competed as a heavyweight, where he earned all GPAC honors twice, including being the heavyweight GPAC champion in his senior campaign. And I believe he did that with a cast on, Lionel. He was a two-time NAI national qualifier, and during his senior season, he finished 8th at nationals, good enough for All-American honors. Lionel currently resides in Chicago, Illinois, and works on Broadway as a head electrician for now the national tour of Oklahoma. Please direct your attention to the screens. Please help me welcome to the stage Lionel Riley and his presenter, Nate Johnson.
So, Lionel Riley came into our life. That story that was on the screen isn't as sweet as what it sounds. My sister, Letitia, was rooming with a gal named Giovanna, and Derek and Lionel showed up saying, "Where are the black girls?" Would you raise your hand right now? My sister is blonde hair and blue-eyed as they come. So the initial meeting did not really start off how they had hoped, I don't think. But it was something that turned into something that was very special. We got lucky. It's only been about a couple months since you asked me to do this, I guess, but I always thought that we chose him. Lionel grew up in inner city Chicago, didn't have the opportunities that anybody in this room grew up with. Had the chance to probably play pro football. We had a talk, and he said, "I'm done with football. Nobody in my family has even really graduated to high school." He said, "I'm going to go get my master's," and I mean, how do you argue with that? I just wanted front row seats to the Broncos games, you know. But, I mean, that's the kind of man that Lionel has always been. He worked 3 or 4 jobs putting himself through college, and he chose us. And we could not be more appreciative. Being a little brother, I mean, it's been almost 20 years. We got to play 1 year at Dakota Wesleyan together, and one of my favorite stories, they put him in as tight end on short downs, and you can't miss. I mean, he's about half of what he was back then, but you couldn't miss him on the football field. And I'm playing outside linebacker on the other side, and Lionel comes across the middle with his hands in the air. I mean, the cardinal sin for any kind of receiver in the world. And so I saw it as an opportunity. I wheeled around even. I got to run at it. Bill Cosby did a skit about looking through the ear hole on his helmet that he got hit so hard. And I mean, have you ever slipped on ice and got up real quick? So hopefully nobody saw. I don't think he even knew that I was there. I folded inside of myself and popped up and ran off the sideline. And Coach Spring was the linebacker coach at the time, and he was 75 probably back then, 70. And he looked at me and said, "John, how'd that work out for you?" So I didn't make it. I mean, somebody saw. But I thought about it. His nickname was Trae, Lionel, but I never really thought it was fitting. There has never been more of a grace on and off the football field than Lionel Riley. I mean, this has to be killing you, standing up in front of all these people right now. But it's an honor to be the one to present him into the Hall of Fame. Much deserved.
All right, yes, I do cry. So I learned a lot when I came here to school, and no, I did not go to the girls' dorms because I thought Letitia was black. And honestly, we actually became friends because me and my friend Derek actually, we were in high school together, and we came to school out here together. And we were, now we were boys, so we did go to the girls' dorm. But as we were walking through, we heard girls telling guys to get out the rooms. And no matter where you're from, I believe you should be a gentleman. And so me and Derek went down there and kicked the guys out. And then basically, me, Letitia, Derek, and like 3 other people became a group of friends that lasted. And that was the beginning of me learning how I wanted to live my life, And going through school, you saw this message about Miss Luckett and everything like that. I had a lot of people through the school that treated me like I was their family. And that's a lot more than I was used to. So I started to gravitate towards it, and Jack, he infuriated me quite a few times. it said that some homework, the final crashed, and he looked at me and he had the biggest grin on his face and said, it's easier to do it the second time. At the time, I wanted to hit him. But it has become some of the best advice I've taken in life because, yes, when we're all doing work, we can't just be like, oh, I had it, but it crashed. We have to go back and do the work. But being at Dakota Wesleyan, I learned that take good notes, do what you need to do, have everything pretty much detailed right in front of you. It took me a fraction of the time to do it again, and I've used that multiple times in my career now. I can't explain how many times lights went down or something, and I had to program it in 30 minutes versus 4 hours. And stuff like that. I've had professors throughout the time I was at DWU that I can pinpoint where they helped me learn that it's not about what I couldn't do, it's about what I can do. It's about what I was put here to do. And so that really helped me a lot. And that was just like on campus. I had a very strong support system off campus as well with my adopted family, and I also have another adopted family that's here, and the support systems that were built and are put in place, I would never want to lose those. It all started because when I said yes to DWU, I said yes to all of them, and they said yes to me, and it's one of those deals like when I saw Tom and I walked in, I've known John since he was in high school. I watched him play football, and he's always been he's always been excited. He's always been like, there is nothing that he would do that he didn't have a huge grin on his face, and that made me happy. I could be sad or something, and he would just be happy. He'd be, all right, we're doing this, we're doing that. And it was just great. I played softball with them in the summer, and it was just like, okay, you can't count how many people out in this world that you don't get that. And this Dakota Wesleyan community has showed me to look beyond certain things. I don't know half of the people that are here today, but you guys have that same quality in you for everybody else that you supported, everybody else that's in front of you. And I can't say nothing but thank you for all of that. And it's just one of those deals where it's like, the best part of DWU is the fact that they are here to support and bring in more young men and women to the Hall of Fame, to the school, and show them that there's more to everything, but without not being in a big city or whatnot, because Mitchell is a blip on the map for some people. But it was the best blip on the map for me, and it still is. So I just want to say thank you guys for being here, and thank you guys for supporting everybody and all of their endeavors here and outside of this. You guys have a good one.
Congrats, Lionel, and thank you, Nate. Our final inductee of the night is Ken Ruml. Ken Ruml, a 1971 graduate of DWU, competed and lettered in football, wrestling, and track all 4 years at Dakota Wesleyan. Upon graduation from DWU, Ruml has went on to have an astounding impact on countless lives across the state of South Dakota, United States, and throughout the sport of wrestling. Ken taught and coached at Howard High School for 35 years and won multiple state championships that included 18 individual state champions. He was a 4-time Regional Wrestling Coach of the Year and the South Dakota Wrestling Coach of the Year 5 times. And in 2000, he was named to the National Wrestling Coach of the Year. He has been inducted into the South Dakota High School Coaches Association Hall of Fame, the National High School Athletic Association Hall of Fame, and numerous others. And by now, I think Ken's probably lost count of how many Hall of Fames he's in. Now, to go along with this folklore in his bio, this is a true story. This is a true story. At the 1980 State Fair, Ken wrestled a 750-pound bear. That's a true story. That was to win $2,500, and maybe you'll talk a little bit more about that, but that's a line right there in itself. But Ken still resides in Howard, South Dakota with his wife, Connie, and is surrounded by wonderful friends and family. Please direct your attention to the screens. Please help me welcome to the stage Ken Ruml and his presenter, John Hartung.
It's a pleasure for me to be back here in Mitchell and Dakota Wesleyan, at Dakota Wesleyan University, and to have the privilege of being the announcer for Ken's induction into the Hall of Fame. He just took my whole speech because we didn't talk about all these things, so I'm going to tell him some stories, and Ken just said I couldn't roast him too bad. And you probably are all tired and want to go home. So I won't go on for too long. I think I have an hour. As was mentioned earlier, Ken's a three-sport athlete at Dakota Wesleyan. He was in football, and Sam Sample was his coach. He was in wrestling, and Joe Lepore was his coach. And he was in track for the first year, and Gordon Fostens was his coach. And then I came to town, and I was his coach for a couple of years. You see this specimen in front of you today, he was a pole vaulter. And this was in the days before the fiberglass pole. We used to have to go out and cut down trees so Ken could use those as a pole vault pole to get over. And you've heard about these people going 19 feet, 20 feet. How about 10? But by gosh, he did well, and he competed. And as a competitor, that's what you can ask about human beings, to be competitors, to work hard, to give their best. And that's one thing Kenny did. He always gave his best. And he reminded me of a story when he was, must have been a freshman. They were at a conference track meet, and Gordy Fossens, who has passed away, asked Ken if he would help him out. He needed somebody to run on the at that time, 4x440-yard relay. And I think Ken must have been pretty naive, or maybe a little bit ignorant. I don't know what the deal was, because he didn't know about that. Not stupid, ignorant, just he didn't know what the 440-yard was, and the fact that you had to run like heck and turn left all the way around the track, you know? And if you didn't, they were going to bury you. But he got out there and he did it, and he competed, and it takes a brave person to get out and do that at a conference track meet at the collegiate level. To say nothing of an athlete who comes from a small town, comes to a school like Dakota Wesleyan in the days of specialization, and competes at the varsity level in 3 sports. Today, that's just not heard of. But Ken Ruml did that during his years here at DWU. And he also developed a work ethic at DWU and an ethic in caring for people and kids. And he took that work ethic with him when he left Wesleyan to become a coach. And as already been mentioned, he was a terribly successful coach. I don't have to go over all of the records that he's established, all of the Hall of Fames that he is in, and all of the state championships that he's won. The most important thing, as I see it, is the lives that he's touched. And the fact that he has given young people the motivation to go out and be the very best that they can be. So when they look back on their life, they can say, I did everything I could with the abilities that I had. And I'm pleased with that. I'm not disappointed that I didn't do more. There are a couple people besides Sam Sample and Joe Lepore and Gordy Fossens and me who are here with us tonight that Ken credits with helping him get his start in wrestling. And they are Dave Backlund and John Krummelmeyer, and they're sitting right back there. And they did a super job getting him going. Had they known at the time he would go nuts like he's gone in wrestling and wrestle a bear, I'm not sure they would have pushed it. Neither of them ever wrestled a bear. But say that at its least. Yeah, it's an honor for me to be here this evening, to be the presenter for Coach Ken Ruml to the DWU Hall of Fame. He certainly is well deserving, and he has promised to, I didn't want to introduce his family because I didn't want to go over my 6 minutes. And with that, Coach Ken Ruml, we welcome you to the DWU Hall of Fame. It's a privilege and an honor to have you.
First off, we got to get a few things straight. You younger coaches don't have a voice like I got. I coached 50 years. I don't have any vocal cords anymore, hardly. Screaming and yelling and hollering. So if you can't understand me, I'm sorry. But you younger guys, you're pretty spry yet. Number two, my wife told me to keep this short, which I won't, because I have my speech out, and I'm not shooting from the hip, I'm shooting from my papers. And number three, yes, I did wrestle a bear at the fair in 1980. And my neighbor took me there, and he says, let's just split the money. Well, we can't split the money, we got to pin the bear first. Well, it was 750 pounds, and it was declawed and muzzled. And I got into the second period, and then all hell broke loose. He got his paws up on my shoulders and took me over backwards, and I got pinned. But that ain't the bad part. He laid on me and urinated on me. 2 minutes. I'm under a bear, and I asked the manager, "Get him off me!" And everybody's laughing their butts off, and I didn't think it was funny, but I got peed on. It was terrible. And I just had to share that with you. I'd like my wife Connie to stand up back there, and two of my brothers and sisters stand up and stay standing, please. Ron and Don and Lane, stand up, and three of my family members, Noah, his wife Tamara, Emily and Larry, and John and Dawn. I didn't bring my whole crew because thank you guys for being here tonight. I didn't bring my whole crew tonight because we'd fill this place up. We have 10 children and 39 grandkids, so we're pretty packed in here, if they'd all been here. So, wow. Anyway, my theme for my speech is how DWU shaped and formed me as a successful science teacher, parent, and coach in the following sports. I coached football 12 years, cross country 27, basketball coach 4 years, track coach 17, and wrestling coach 35 years. Without my valuable schooling and experiences here at DWU, all my success and accomplishments I have received would not have ever happened. First of all, I was a commuter at DWU from the farm, 1968 to 72. I drove for 4.5 years from my farm in Letcher, so I did miss out on a lot of the family dorm life, or the dorm life, and the experiences of that. But I heard some stories from George Ricks and some of those crazy guys at the dorm that they had fish fries in the basement of Allen Hall, and they also had boxing matches in the dorm rooms. But I didn't get to see any of them. I never dreamt that I'd be standing here tonight giving my Hall of Fame speech after 50 years. What a dream come true. How this campus has changed over the past 50 years. All the new buildings were built and the old ones were destroyed. But my fond memories of the following will be with me in my lifetime. Good old Morrow Gymnasium, I think it was over there somewhere, was the home on this campus away from my home at Letcher. Morrow Gymnasium had classrooms, a large gym where we practiced wrestling, had wrestling duels, weight room, upstairs running track, and last but not least, a swimming pool in the basement. We could swim there super 24/7. It was always available to swim all day, every day. I also spent endless hours in the campus center, which I think was right here, and I ate meals there even though I was a commuter. Snack shop, and downstairs, the bookstore. I visited that quite frequently to purchase my Cliff Notes. I wasn't leading those literature assignments the teachers gave me to go read a whole book. They said, go to the library and buy those little Cliff Notes. It's a summary of the book. I made many trips there for Cliff Notes over the years I was here. And then I bought my books here, and they got more expensive every year. And the canteen was in the basement here where we played pool tournaments and we played foosball tournaments here. I spent endless hours at the library to get my studies and homework done before I left for home, 10 p.m. And we had a lady at the library. I don't know what that library was called. Was that Smith Library? That lady was so mean over there. If you whispered or you talked, you're gone. And I got kicked out a lot of times because you had to shut up over there. It was nothing. You could hear a mouse or a pin drop. Just terrible. So I didn't like that. And now they have a beautiful McGovern library. These memories shaped my life, and they will be with me a lifetime. My Hall of Fame induction here at DW came about of what I accomplished after my college days, rather than the super athletes or students that I was here at DWU. I was just an average Joe from 1968 to 72. I competed in football, wrestling, and track, and you've already been told that by John, so I don't need to go into that. But after I walked down the Corn Palace floor for my graduation in 72, I was scared as hell. Why? I had no idea what was going to be next in my life. What am I going to do? I graduate, and now what do I do? My thoughts were to find a teaching job and coaching job. 50 years later, the success I had as a teacher and coach were phenomenal. I had superior careers in my teaching and coaching duties at the following schools: Artesian 3 years, Clark 1, and Howard 36. My highlight of my teaching career was to have the honor of teaching my 10 children in the science classes and coaching them also. The people that influenced me were from many top-notch people right here at DWU. Dan Moran, a DWU graduate from here, was my first high school coach and lecturer in 1964 to 1967. Very good coach. Bruce Hauk, botany teacher here at DWU. Frank Winfield, my anatomy and physiology teacher, and he was weird. And this guy, he got an order of rhesus monkeys and dogfish sharks, and in the summertime they delivered them the truck. He never put them in refrigeration. So when our school year comes around, they smelled so bad when we dissected them, we had girls putting their noses out the windows. Some of them dropped out of the class, but he didn't care. He just something else. John Hartog, awesome biology teacher here at DWU, and Gordy Foster was my advisor. Super guy. Some of you didn't even maybe get to meet him. You think he passed away now. But Gordy was about 6'3", and he would come and hit me, bam, in the chest and sternum. He'd cave that in all the time, so you never want to give an angle and always stay 4 feet away from him, because he'd say, Rums, how's your grades doing? Fine, but don't hit me in the chest anymore. If he'd do that today, he'd be fired, no doubt. There's no way you could do that. My college coaches and Mr. Hartung talked about that. Zapp, Sample, Faustus, Lepore, and Hartung all influenced me in my coaching here at DWU. And an unusual situation I had to face. I never had high school wrestling in Letcher, South Dakota, so I had to learn in college by trial and error. George Ricks and Mike Denny said, Coach, during football practice, come on into the mats when this season's done and you'll be a good wrestler. I said, I don't know a dang thing about this sport. And they said, you'll find out in a hurry. Well, I did. And I found out the hard way. And the following students that really helped me out and teach me some wrestling skills was Mike Denny, George Ricks, Jim Monday, John Krummelmeyer is back here, and John Weber, Dave Backlund's back here, and Elroy Grunwald, he was a wild man. Elroy Grunwald and Joe Lepore, my wrestling coach. How I got hooked on the sport that I really loved was I pinned an Augustan wrestler my junior year here at DW. I cradled him up and stuck him, and that was my goal in life, was to go from there. Such a good feeling, winning a match that you wrestled yourself. Going into my career highlights, the greatest sport I coached was wrestling. We had 436 dual wins and 37 dual losses in 36 years. That's a 92% winning record. I coached Howard to 51 straight duels without a loss, 4 seasons, and that's tough. And I coached Howard to 4 state championships, 96, 97, 2000, and 2001. And I coached 2000, the South Dakota team, the Disney Duels in Orlando, Florida, and Team South Dakota. We got second. I coached in the European World Wrestling Tournament in Belgium in 96. They were very angry at us. We took home 10 golds, 9 silvers, and 8 bronze. I got to help out with wrestling at the 2012 Olympics in London. We got 2 golds, 2 silver, and 3 bronze. I was selected National Coach of the Year in 2000. The greatest accomplishments was getting my 4 levels of wrestling achievements: copper, bronze, silver, and gold. And there's only 4 or 5 at the time when I got it in Colorado Springs. Now there is 40. But you got to jump through a lot of hoops, and you got to coach 40 years to get the gold level certification. It's hard. All my accomplishments didn't come easy. I got involved in 79 wrestling clinics throughout the United States to learn the greatest skills in the sport of wrestling. Gable was one of my men to go back to in Iowa. He was the one that schooled me. I also hosted 34 wrestling camps on the Howard mats, and also spent hours at the Olympic training headquarters in Colorado Springs with the elite world class to wrestle and teach me the best skills in wrestling. I never dreamt how hard the sport of wrestling is until you do it. It's combative. One wins, one loses. One gets their hand raised, one don't. It's tough. I wrestled in tournaments throughout the United States. I was coach at Howard because I didn't get much wrestling in the varsity level here at DW. I got 1 first, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, 3 fourths, and 2 fifths. And I have a classification system, which maybe Mr. Hartung knows about, Linnaeus classification system. Well, I got a classification on human beings. I've seen them all over the world. 85% of the humans are lookers and followers. 10% of humans are maybes and ifers. And 5% are human doers. And I think everybody here today, you're doers. You fit into that classification. You are doers. because you are winners, you care, and you have competed in your lives. You are the doers. 5%. Words of encouragement. Is there any college students out here sitting here today, entering your careers? Go for your dreams and dream big. Don't give up on your goals, and your dreams and good things will happen. It took me 20 years of coaching wrestling before I got my first championship in 96. Then I got 3 more in 97, 2000, 2001. Had I gave up after that first years, I never would have saw that success. A successful coach needs to implant in their athletes that they should hate losing more than love winning. And I see that all the time in reverse. They should hate losing more than love winning. And a successful coach needs to instill in their athletes, winning should not be a chore, it should be a euphoric high. Closing comments. I'd like to thank my wife Connie of 48 years. I'd like to thank our 10 children and family for competing in athletics and being good students at Howard High School. I would like to thank our 10 children and my wife for putting up with me and being gone from home for the thousands of hours in my 50 years. I'd like to thank DWU for paving my road for all the success I have had. I never would have ever been introduced to the sport of wrestling without DWU. I would like to thank the thousands of students and athletes I got to teach and coach over those years. And here's some quotes I live by. An athlete says, a girl or a boy says, I really came close to placing in that event. Well, my response is, well, close only counts in horseshoe and hand grenades. And then they say, I as a coach, I'd rather wear out than rust out. Be active, stay active. If you ever wrestled in life, you can do anything you want on the face of the earth. That's Dan Gable's quote. If you ever wrestled in your life, you can do anything you want on the face of this earth. I'm aging, and my fuel tank is below a quarter of a tank through my 73 years. I will use my final quarter of tank of gas to do what I want to do and what I can do. I'd like to thank DWU from the bottom of my heart for all that you have done for me. USA Gold Level Wrestling Coach, Ken Ruml. And if anybody wants one of my packets, I got them there in my itinerary, in my profile, and my resume. I thank you all.
Congratulations, Ken, and thank you, John. On behalf of our DW Athletics Department and DW as a whole, I want to again congratulate this outstanding and accomplished Hall of Fame class of 2022. Your names will be forever etched in DW history. You have helped make the difference and set the bar for our future student athletes and programs. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me give this group one more round of applause. Now I would like to invite President Kittle back to the stage for some closing remarks to end the evening.
Thanks, John. This is an inevitable task. This is a tough task to follow all those words tonight. It was inspirational for me to hear from all of you. And so as we close this evening, I want to express my appreciation for you all being here. And to the honorees, as I listened to you, I was reminded of a conversation I had with some first-year students recently. And that conversation was something like this, which is that students enter the university thinking about what it is that they're going to gain from the experience. And rightly so, right? We have promises to keep for them, to them in terms of their education and growing and opportunities for competition. But at some point, some of the best students become invested in the place and they leave a mark. And what I walk away from this evening is really understanding what it means to leave a mark at Dakota Wesleyan University, because the honorees have done that. You've left a permanent mark here, and for that we are very, very much appreciative. So thank you very much for the evening. Congratulations again to the honorees.